So it's the last one, so I also have to, like, be mentally present and, like, am I on my Instagram? Okay, no, I'm not. Like, I have to, be mentally present and all that, which is hard enough for me to do. And then on top of that, I'm not just like, hey y'all, I'm not just like teaching the class, we're doing a spell that I basically allow everyone in the class, where I'm like, hey, if you need energy, like, I got it, like, go for it. But then that means the class is over and I'm like, okay,
you're drained.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Oh my god.
Everyone's leaving and I'm like, bye.
How do you guys
It's so funny. And they're always like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know.
Still figuring.
Sure. It's so funny. So much Red Bull. That's I love my coworkers because they want me to, not die of a heart attack. So they're always like, stop with the Red Bull. But I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be awake. I literally have a client who, she's so funny. Every time she comes, she brings me a Red Bull. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
She speaks my language. All right. So today we're going to start with the women of the Major Arcana because it's my class and I do what I want. And I'm a man eater. So ladies, we're going to talk about this every class. Also, hi, they know who I am. Just in case anyone's here who doesn't. Hi, my name's Sam. I'm the witch of the store. DM me with any questions. I've been reading tarot for 15 years. That's why I'm qualified to talk about it. And I do death magic. So if you guys have any questions about that or what a death witch is, comments, questions, it's fine. I love talking about what I do, but we're also in a rush today. So I like to give a prompt for every card that we do. You can go home and do it if you want. You don't, I'm not your mom. It's totally fine. But these prompts can kind of help us, like, get in tune with the card's energy. So for the High Priestess, record your dreams for a week, if you remember them. What, if anything, do you think that they say about you? Now, why is that the prompt for the High Priestess? Because the High Priestess, yes, she's a lot about spirituality, and we'll go into all of her nitty-gritty details, but also she, more than anything, is our subconscious. Very similar to, like, the moon, very similar to, like, all that kind of stuff. So the High Priestess, if it's a yes or no, it's a maybe, which is really annoying, but it's a maybe. If you're like me and you hate getting maybes, pull more cards. If you get a second maybe, stop asking questions and just, like, call it a day. The planets that this card's associated with, it's not a planet, but it's the moon. That's what it's connected to. The moon is associated with emotions, intuition, and your subconscious, which is exactly what this card is associated with. And if you're using this card for deity identification, you're going to find Isis, Diana, Artemis, Selene, Hecate. You'll find all of them in there. Most goddesses of witchcraft you're going to find. Most lunar goddesses you're going to find under this. If you're looking for angels, Archangel Haniel, she's the angel of divine communication. She'll be the one who shows up. So the High Priestess is a keeper of mysteries. She is a guardian of the intuition. She's also a teacher. She holds sacred knowledge, reveals that the world is not always as it seems. She ushers in spiritual awakenings and gives deep divine understanding. So her symbolism is wild, and it's gonna take a minute to break it all down. I wish I had my cards with me, damn it, I did not have time. So first off, she's the second card in the Major Arcana. We're going out of order because, like I said, we're doing the women. We'll get to the Magician when I feel like talking about him. So number 2, it's one of my favorite numbers. 2, 3, 6, those are all my favorites. 2 is a number of duality, polarity, and also harmony. So we want to think, 2 sides of a coin, but also like 2 scales in balance. So they kind of work both ways. Now on the High Priestess card, we see a woman sitting in a chair. She's got like this big headpiece on. There's this big drapery going behind her. I'm going to start with the drapery. On the drapery, there's this big veil. Right off the bat, it's the veil. That's like what it's the veil. That's kind of the whole point of that. Also, it's decorated in pomegranates. Pomegranates are all about the divine feminine. They're all about, think Persephone. So they show us the underworld. They show us the other side of things. Pomegranates have this really deep connection to not only femininity, but the dark divine feminine. The dark divine feminine gets a really bad rap on TikTok as just being like your hot villain era. And like, don't get me wrong, that's totally part of it. It's totally part of it. But like, the dark divine feminine, how I see it, this is again gonna make me sound like a man-eater. I promise I like men, like I do. But it's gonna make me sound like a man-eater. The dark divine feminine is, any AFAB will understand, the deep, primordial, biblical rage that sits inside all of us, every single AFAB woman, that like when you hear songs like Dead Men Don't Rape, when you hear songs like Labor, and you're like scream singing it even though you have a perfectly wonderful boyfriend who has never treated you wrong in your entire life, but you still like like you feel that like deep guttural like mama bear cry that we all kind of have. That's the dark divine feminine. That's the side of femininity that makes, you know, men need to let us not read for a couple centuries because they're that fucking scared. Like, that's the dark divine feminine. Think Persephone. Persephone in the spring was Kore. She was a maiden goddess. Hi, Ruby. She was all, you know, flowers and meadows and putting flowers in her hair and skipping through the fields with dryads. In the winter, the ancient Greeks were afraid to say her name because they were that scared of her. We don't even know Persephone's real name. We only know Persephone is a title, and it means like destroyer or like destruction. And again, over the winter, the ancient Greeks referred to her as the chthonic queen, as the lady of the underground, the lady of the upside down, the queen of Hades. It was like anything. There was a very deep fear, and that's that dark divine feminine energy. That's kind of all those little pomegranates behind her. The veil itself in the card is meant to show the separation between the conscious and the unconscious, or the subconscious. You know, the seen and the unseen. Let's see. Also, she's got these two black and white pillars next to her. Right off the bat, just breaking them down in their colors. Black and white, balance, yin and yang. We all kind of get that. I'm not doing that good and bad shit. Black magic, white magic are old, antiquated, and racist terms, and we don't use them here. Magic is a completely neutral force. It's how you use it. So, that black and white, that's not a good bad. That's dark light, all that stuff. On the black pillar, we see the letter B. This is for the word Boaz. I believe it's an old Hebrew word. And it means in his strength. And on the white pillar is a J for, I can never say it right, Jahin, Jasin, and it means he will establish. So in his strength, he will establish. And that's kind of on both of her pillars there. Now, her robe, her cross, her crown, all of these show that she is a divine ruler. So I want you to think about all the funny little symbolism that happened when King Charles was crowned. All that like weird, like we're gonna put a staff in your hand, you're gonna sit on a magical rock, and like all this like weird shit. Yeah, like all this like weird stuff they have to do. Those are all meant to symbolize that he is someone who is in power by divine right. Yeah. But I'm very Irish, sorry. And then she has a Torah scroll, a Torah scroll in her lap. Or in her hand. It kind of varies depending on what you're showing. This shows greater law. And you can see, because it's a scroll, some of the words are seen, some of the words are hidden. And then finally, the big moon in the back shows her connection to the divine feminine, intuition, subconscious, and the moon cycles. So the divine feminine is always going to be deeply connected to the moon. You know, there's a lot of cultures that call a woman's period her moon time, or like moments like that, because, and you know, women and AFAB and people with uteruses, we work in, instead of the 24-hour cycle that AMAB people work in, we go on a 28-day cycle, just like the moon. So like that's why she's kind of intrinsically connected to the divine feminine. So when this card is upright, I like to give you guys keywords because I'm just going to go on about it. So if you're like a flashcard person, I like to make sure you guys have stuff like that. So keywords: divine knowledge, enlightenment, wisdom, psychic insight, collaborate, don't compete, create, don't destroy, feel, don't think. And this is a card of meditation and community, and it's usually trying to get you to fight off some imposter syndrome. So when she appears, we usually have the opportunity to access knowledge from deep within. This is a good time to meditate, to do some past life work. Not to sound really cheesy, but the answers are going to come from here.
Oh.
Yes, you're very cool.
Yeah.
Bet money.
Yeah.
My mom had a motorcycle, wasn't that loud. We weren't making statements.
Yeah.
We were just doing things because we liked them. Imagine.
Yeah.
You tell him, Ruby. It's not a big parking lot, bro. Find your way out. There we go.
Let's go.
So, basically, again, not to sound terribly cheesy, but like the answers are coming. Calm down. The answers are coming within you. You're being called to embrace your divine feminine. You're probably having a spiritual awakening. You're probably having really weird dreams. Your dreams are probably so dramatic. Your dreams are, do you think he's overcompensating for something?
Yeah, definitely.
Your dreams are probably so weird.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be able to make any sense of them, but like honestly, don't worry about it. If you get this card and the moon, everything you've repressed coming up out. Half the time if I get this card in the moon, usually what I tell people is you're probably going to have a spiritual awakening. It's probably going to be whatever gifts you could do when you were a kid are probably going to start coming back up. But also whatever you've repressed from when you were a kid is going to come back up because the gifts, the memories, the trauma, they were all in the same box. And if you got to open it, they're all going to come out. So that's going to be a lot of in here. You know, the High Priestess is usually a card of, again, like do some past life work, do some shadow work, maybe do some therapy, like depending if that's what you think. You know, when every card, the second you mix it with others, that's going to change its energy, that's going to change its vibe. Like, you know, if I get the High Priestess in Judgment, you're having a spiritual awakening and you're probably doubting yourself too much and you need to trust your judgment more. You need to like listen to what's coming to you. Now, when she's in reverse, we're keeping secrets.
Oh.
We're keeping secrets.
Interesting.
We also probably feel disconnected. Our spirituality probably feels like it's left us and they're probably freaking out about it. So usually remind them that, you know, spirituality moves in cycles and don't beat themselves up because they're probably freaking out. Also, we might be withdrawing. Look for cards like the Hermit to see if that's what's happening. Also, silence. You're not talking when this card is in reverse. And again, the surrounding cards will tell you why. Now, when it's upright, I gotta tell you to be still and look inward. When it's in reverse, I have to yell it at you. Like, I really need you to look inward and figure it out. You need to check in with your higher self. Because also the thing with the High Priestess, it's telling secrets. Sometimes you're not the one telling secrets. Sometimes other people are keeping them or telling them or causing issues. So usually when this is in reverse, you're probably in the process of being swayed by other people's opinions. You might be swept up in drama. So like the High Priestess in reverse, I had a friend in high school and they were so funny. They were the type where like they would go to one person for advice, change their mind, go to another person for advice, change their mind, and they would do that like 6 or 7 times. Yeah. And they knew, but after like the 3rd or 5th time it happened, I was like, if I'm not the last person you're talking to, stop fucking talking to me. Like, I'm not doing this with you. Because if you were genuinely changing your opinion, fine. Mm-hmm. That's not what's happening. You're just being swayed. I'm not having a half an hour conversation with you just for someone else's half-hour conversation to completely undermine this one. No. Like, and you know, they got the message. Like, so you're probably being swayed. You're probably wrapped up in stupid drama that you think is important, and it's not, because every time I've ever been involved in something dramatic and I thought it was really important, hindsight was like, that was so stupid. Like, that was so stupid. I could have just removed myself from the situation half the time, because that's what I ended up doing anyway, and like, it just would have been easier. Also, you need to really focus on yourself. This is a time where you need to go quiet. If the High Priestess is in reverse, I need you to stop speaking. It's like the lawyer behind you, like, shut up. Like, and like, honestly, now is a good time for you to withdraw. Now is a good time for you to go somewhere else. I love when I get the High Priestess because I get to give people some of the scariest advice, which is go somewhere where it's just you and the inside of your head. And they're like, I don't want to do that. Which means you have to fucking do that. Like, the fact that you don't want to means you need to. You have to get used to the space up here. And, like, look, I get it. I run from that shit sometimes. I don't want to deal with it. But, like, it can't be how you are all the time. So, there's probably inner guidance that you're probably missing. Or you're listening to it and you're going, and you're just hoping someone else is going to give you different advice. Not going to work. Like, it's going to come up anyway. Also, when this card is in reverse, you are probably struggling to trust your intuition. That's probably a big one. And here's the thing about your intuition and why you need to listen to her. Your intuition is your higher self. Your higher self is calm, untouched, and unbothered by the outside world. They couldn't give... Hi, friend. They could not give less... Oh, was that a bumblebee? Oh, that was a bumblebee. Hi, Mom. They could not give less of a damn about what's going on around you. That's why you need to listen to them. Your higher self is like, oh, is it going to hurt their feelings? Go. Like, it's not going to want to hear it. It's going to tell you to treat them with gentleness, but it's going to tell you to do the damn thing anyway. That's probably who you need to listen to. Also, stop freaking out that the answer hasn't come yet. It's going to, and probably it will happen when you stop talking about it. Like, when you stop talking. Like, when you're, oh my god, why hasn't it happened? Every time you say it, I swear someone's keeping tally, and, like, they're just adding another day onto it.
True. I feel like that literally always happens.
Yep.
It's when you want something to happen that it will never happen, and then when you don't expect it to.
Also, half the time, if it's that, it's your guides telling you to shut up and trust them. So, like, I'll use an example that I just found out the other day. One of my friends, she also works with Hades, and it was so funny. I was losing my shit. She was applying for a job, and she just couldn't get it. She kept getting to, like, the last spot, and then it was like, oh, sorry, never mind. Oh, sorry, we can't. And it was driving her crazy. Yeah. So finally, she asked Hades for help, and he showed up. And his exact words were, to find a job, stop applying for one. And she was like, what the fuck kind of advice is that? Yeah. And she, like, didn't listen to him for a minute. And if anything, it started going worse. So finally she was like, okay, I'm going to listen to you. Mm-hmm. So she stopped applying. And he tested her. For 4 days, some of the perfect jobs floated across. Yeah. Friends were telling her about stuff. They were like, hey, I found this job, you should apply. Hey, and he tested her, and she was like, no, I'm not gonna apply. And, like, she stood super still, and she forced herself not to, and she kept getting the High Priestess in reverse, which was like, shut the fuck up about it, and just do the damn thing. And then, wouldn't you know, job reached out to her.
That's awesome.
Everything she was looking for. They accepted international students. The pay was good. It was everything she wanted.
Awesome.
She got the job.
That's great.
Got the job. Like, so and she kept getting this. And he was like, will you shut up and let me work?
Yeah.
What's the Tyler, the Creator thing? Oh my god, can you let me do what I need to do? Like,
I love that.
Like, that's just what this card is half the time. It's just, oh my god, will you let me do what I need to do?
Yeah.
Like, also, where this card can be some secrets, it can show gossip and hidden agendas and keeping information. It can be sharing mistruths. It can be all of those things. If you're looking for that, look for cards like the Seven of Cups. Look for cards like the Three of Swords. That's going to tell you there's some fuckery afoot. So, like I said, if you're doing this as like a yes, no, maybe, it's a maybe, but even the maybes have further clarification. So if you get this as a maybe, you're most likely not ready for the answer. And that's why you got it. It's the universe again going, shut up about it. Like,
if it's maybe, is it like, how does it come? Like, it's not like upright or reverse?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Even like yes cards, if I pull like the sun is a yes card.
Okay.
But if I pull it in reverse, that's like a yes, but, and then we go into like the reversal meaning of that.
Okay.
But if it's a maybe, them in reverse don't really change too much.
Okay.
It's still a maybe, but again, you're just not ready to know the answer.
Oh,
Yeah, that's probably part of it. Or you need to do more research, or you're asking the wrong question. And you need to look inward to find out what the right question is.
Okay.
Next lady.
That's the best notes. Yeah, they're so nice.
Next lady is the Empress. So, I'm going to give you 2 prompts. Describe your relationship with abundance. Where do you feel it? Where do you notice its absence? Do you desire it, and why? And a slightly tougher question. Describe your relationship with motherhood. Where do you feel it? Where do you feel its absence? What kind of motherhood do you desire, and why? Whether that's the way you want to be a mom or the way you want to be mothered, whatever that looks like. Hey, grab a chair. Get off me. So, she's the mother of the zodiac sign, if you can tell. That's what not the zodiac, of the tarot. The Empress is the mother of the tarot. If this is a yes or no, big fat yes. This card's associated with the planet Venus. Venus is all about love, relationships, beauty, and sex. And all kinds of love, not just romantic. All kinds. Some of the deities that you're going to find in this, Empress is a weird combo. You're going to find a lot of mother deities. You're also going to find a lot of deities associated with the planet Venus. So we see, honestly, for me, for the Empress, I get Demeter. I get Demeter 9 times out of 10. But you will also see Hera. Hera will come through in this. Aphrodite will come through in this for her connection to Venus. Juno and Venus herself, because they're not the same. Aphrodite and Venus are not the same. And I will have that argument every day. The Roman and Greek gods are not the same. Literally not. You'll also find Mut. She's an Egyptian goddess. She's really cool. M-U-T. And Hathor. Hathor is also an Egyptian goddess. Hathor is the Egyptian goddess of love and marriage and all the good stuff. When it comes to angels, you'll find Gabriel. The reason why Gabriel's on this, obviously, angels are not going around having kids, with the exception of Nephilim, which are considered abominations. And also, Nephilim need to be birthed by a human mother. So there's no angels that are popping around pregnant. So there's really no angels we could give to the mother card, except for then Gabriel. Gabriel's on this card because he was the messenger to Mary. He was the one to tell her she was pregnant in the first place. So, like, that's why he's on this card. Because he's kind of a stork. So, like, we're going to have him on here. So for symbolism, it's the number 3. The Empress is the 3rd card in the deck. Technically the 4th because the Fool's 0, but it's the 3rd in the whole set. 3 is a number of birth, life, and death. It represents that whole cycle. It's also a number of creativity, communication, and necessary lessons. So the Empress, we see this beautiful woman. She's sitting on this big throne. She's usually pregnant and usually heavily pregnant. She has a crown of 12 stars. These 12 stars show the cycle of the world, our planets, our months, all the good stuff. They also show her connection to the celestial. She has a symbol of Venus on her to show love, creativity, and fertility and grace. And there's also pomegranates all over this card too. And this is also, unlike connecting to Persephone, this is meant to connect us to her mother, Demeter. Also, there's a bunch of blooming flowers everywhere. There's all this beautiful growth. All of these things, again, to show fertility and abundance and wealth and all the good stuff. So, upright. Keywords: femininity, beauty, nature, nurturing, and abundance. Especially financial abundance. Also babies. Babies. It's a good card. If you get the Empress, if you get the Sun, if you get the Ten of Cups, babies. And the Four of Wands, babies. So this is a mom friend card. This is if you're not a mom, you're a mom friend. It doesn't really matter. Gender's not really important to whoever you're talking to. I know so many guys who are mom friends, like deep in their souls. I know so many women who are dad friends. Don't really overstress it too much. This card is deeply connected with the creation aspect of the Divine Feminine. So one of the really fun things about the Divine Feminine, again, men think they have the market cornered on rage. No. The funny thing about it, The divine masculine is about nurture and protect and provide, and violence only to protect, violence only when necessary. And it's the thing of like, you know, you kill the man who breaks into your house and then you go make sure that your wife is okay. Divine feminine is split down the middle. Divine feminine is known for creation and destruction. It is not the divine masculine that corners the market on destruction. It's the divine feminine. The divine feminine has 1 foot in the world of birth and 1 foot in the world of death. It was considered when you're pregnant, it's an incredibly sacred and especially spiritually vulnerable time, because you kind of have 1 foot on the other side, right? And 1 foot in the other. I mean, for God's sakes, you are literally becoming a portal for life. Like, that's a trippy spiritual experience. Crazy things go on here. Also, divine masculine protection is, again, kill the intruder, make sure your wife's okay. Divine feminine protection is kill the intruder and then burn his house down. Like, there's a big difference. Yeah. I was literally just watching Shakespeare, and it's Happy Birthday. And it's one of my favorite moments where it's this whole, oh, if I were a man, and she goes on this whole thing. Her cousin, her good friend has been deeply slandered. It's really bad, and she's basically begging any of the men in her life to do anything about it, and they're all like, oh, like, you know, typical bullshit. And she has such a good line delivery, but she literally says, like, oh, if I were a man, I would eat his heart in the marketplace. And she like screams it, and like, that's feminine rage, bitch. And like, that's the kind of utter destruction that gets brought about with divine feminine rage. That's why we corner the market on it. Again, creation, destruction. This is the more creative aspect. The High Priestess is more the destruction aspect. She's all about the creation aspect of things. So, as cheesy as it is, she's going to tell you to create some beauty in your life, to be a little good to yourself, connect back into your physical body. You've probably been in there for too long. Again, she comes out after the High Priestess, right? And what do we need after this witchy, magical, feminine rage moment? We need, half the time, our fucking mom. Like, we need to just be safe and be reminded that there's pretty flowers in the world and that, like, it's okay, and we need to get back into our bodies. That's kind of her job. That's why she comes right after the High Priestess. She kind of, when we come out of the High Priestess, like, shaking and half in our body, she's like, hey, let's do some meditations. Let's have some water. Let's smell some flowers. And like, she recenters us. Usually with the Empress, you're being called to mother somebody, and half the time it's yourself. Like, if that's kind of what we're looking in. Also, you're usually in a period of growth. Do some stuff for your creativity. Offer gratitude for the abundance that's going to start coming in, and ground. Why are you back? Yeah. And ground yourself. She can also suggest quite literally coming into the motherhood role, again, pregnancy and babies, or birthing ideas into the world. It's not always, you know, physical babies. Now, when she's in reverse, oh, she's messy when she's in reverse, we can see a creative blockage, an over-dependence on others to the point that we're probably either infantilizing ourselves or self-victimizing, and overbearing mother figures. My favorite thing to do is when I get to read like a 16-year-old and half the reading's just about her mom, and then her mom comes in for a reading after, and I get the Empress in reverse, and I'm like, oh, yeah, she's right. You need to calm down. Like, you need to chill with the tiger mom thing. You need to land the helicopter, and you need to relax. Like speaking of. And that's usually how it tends to work. So take time for yourself. Because also, if you're not doing any of those things, then you have mothered everyone else into oblivion, and you've completely forgotten about yourself, and you've kind of like left yourself to the wayside. I say all the time, I'm a Cancer, I'm the mother of the zodiac sign. People like to treat me like I'm their mom, which is why half the time you hear me say I'm not your mom, because people need to be reminded. The problem with the Empress in reverse, if you're getting mommed in an unhealthy way, think about how we are with our parents, right? We are entitled little shits to our parents all the time. We're allowed to be. They forced us to be on this on fire rock. We're allowed to be. But it's the type of deal like, right, I can call my mom and she cannot answer, and I'd be an asshole for this, but I could be like, what are you doing that's so important? I'm your only child, and I could absolutely give her shit for it.
Yeah.
If I did that to anyone other than the woman who pushed me out of her, I would be insane.
Yeah.
Like, that would be crazy. The amount of entitlement I would be having to another human being who doesn't owe me shit. Crazy. Because again, duality, surprise, the death witch in duality, weird. I am a really firm believer that we owe all human beings respect, kindness, goodness, all that. Also in the same boat, you don't owe anybody shit. Like, in the big sense of all the big stuff, you probably need to be reminded of this. Or the people around you need to be reminded of this. Because when you pull away and you're this person, people act like their mother is leaving. Imagine if, like, you were having a really bad day and you were like, Mom, I'm just so stressed. And your mom, like, let's say we all had awesome moms here, right? And let's say your mom's like, ooh, honey, I'm actually really busy and I'm really tired and I really need a me day. Can you call one of your friends? What? You can't do that. You're my mom. Like, that's not allowed. No. Any of my friends do that? Oh, shit, my bad. No problem. Yeah, I'm going to go call someone else.
Yeah.
And if I get all the way down, I'll call my damn mom. Like, if that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Don't let people treat you like that. It's fucking crazy. Especially depending on your sign. You got to be careful. Like, I had so many air signs who I pulled this card on like a few weeks ago. And I was like, guys, you need to understand as an air sign, when you leave, think about like oxygen, right? We take that shit so for granted. I can just breathe it. I don't gotta think about it. I don't appreciate oxygen until there ain't no more of it. Then, oh my God, do I need it back? Oh my God, am I freaking out? Typical story of any air sign that's like taking space. Like, typical thing. So make sure that when you do this, understand people are probably gonna freak the fuck out when you pull away, because again, in their mind it's like their mom is just deciding to up and dip. So walk them through it if you want to. Don't, because you don't have to. Do whatever you feel is right. But the important thing is, take the space that you need. You have been neglecting yourself. If that's not what this is, then it is super toxic mothering. It is well, I guess I'm just such a horrible mother, aren't I? Oh my God. It's all of that. It's all, every stereotype about the mom who can't take accountability, that we will see that a lot here. Because here's the thing. Things can be two things. You can give everything and try your best and try as hard as you can, and you still could have done a shit job. Things can be two things. And that's a really icky pill for a lot of people to swallow. And usually if you're dealing with the kind of toxic mother type in this, they're not going to want to swallow it. And like, which is so funny because it's especially the younger generation. They love to do the millennial thing of like, everyone got a trophy. And it's like, really? Because when I tell you about my complaints, you tell me you tried your best. And when I tell you your best wasn't good enough, all of a sudden it's waterworks. Do you want a participation trophy for doing your best? Yeah. Or do you want an award for being a good parent? Mm-hmm. Do you want to have done your best, or do you want to have done a good fucking job? Like, and with this card, you usually have to check people like that. And they don't want to be checked like that. Oh my God, go at your own pace. Like, because there's a good chance, again, you're going to get mama bear attacked. So take your time with this. Because again, this is someone who thinks that they're in the right. And again, it's going to do the thing of like, I guess I'm just so horrible, aren't I? Yeah. You were. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that not the answer you wanted? Mm-hmm. Then don't say that shit. That's what I'm here to do, is answer those questions. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. I had that with a friend. I guess I'm just such a horrible friend. You were. Yeah. Girl almost choked on her own spit. She like did not know what to do. I was like, yeah. I'm sorry. No, you were. You were a shit friend.
Do you want the truth, or do you want to
be better? Like, it's not closed to you. We can all do better. I don't know why people think that just because you were shit at something doesn't mean you can't not be shit at it. Like, but you have to sit there and go, yeah, that was not my best. Yes. Shit. And then acknowledge that and then move forward to do better. It's literally not that fucking complicated. I don't know why we make it that complicated. She's gonna try to make it complicated. So, like, enter at your own risk. Like, half the time, This is one of those where, like, when I'm looking at relationships and they're like, what do I need to worry about? And I flip, I'm like, their mother. Their mother. Like, you need to be wary of their goddamn mom. Like, or whatever the major maternal presence in their life is, because she's going to be hell for you. So, like, that's when you'll kind of see this card. Or, again, like, when I get teenagers in here, and they're frustrated and they're stressed, this card's going to tell me, does your mom mean well and you're just being a teenager? Or are you right and is your mom doing too fucking much? And, like, this card will kind of tell me the truth. So I pull that. Also, you know, it's a indicator of motherhood. If someone wants to know the kind of parent they're probably going to be, it'll give them a good idea. Stuff like that all really helps. All right. Oh, we're moving faster than I thought. We're going to go into strength. Card prompt. Consider power versus force. What does it mean to you? Where do they differ? And where do they overlap? So for a yes-no card, strength is a yes. Big fat yes. Hi. That's such a cute username. Aquascension. That's an adorable username. This one is associated with the sun. The sun is Leo energy. It's courage. It's confidence. The deities you're going to see with this are Sekhmet. She's cool. She's a Egyptian goddess of war and protection. She's really, really, really cool. Fun fact about Sekhmet. So the way she was created, so in Kemeticism, the Egyptian gods used to live among us down here. Ra was, king of the gods. He was down here. He was king of everyone, because king of the gods, king of everybody. But when the gods were down here, they would age. And as Ra got older, old age caught up with him, and he started getting a little senile. And, because people are dumb, and we saw an old man and didn't go, right, God, we decided to be like, haha, hey, he's getting old. Haha, his memory's going. Everybody started being a shit. Ra found out, got real upset, understandably, left, went up so that he could, get his mind back, and decided, because there was a lot of other bad shit that people did, so he decided it was punishment time. He was really angry, really upset, popped an eyeball out. Sekhmet came out of that, basically told her to go fuck shit up. She did exactly that. Problem is, she's a lion goddess who kind of can't be stopped. She went on a massive rampage, rivers of blood. Was known to drink blood, crazy war goddess. And it went on for a little bit. And then the other gods were like, hey buddy, I don't think she's gonna stop. I think we're gonna run out of humans. And they were getting a little nervous because again, she was not stopping. And at first he was pretty no, get what you get. And then it started getting out of hand, because at first it was just the people who were disrespectful, and then she kept going, and he was like, oh, fuck, okay, oh, shit, and they had no idea how to slow her down.
Yeah.
So, what they ended up doing, they got a giant barrel of wine, disguised it as blood, and she drank so much she got drunk and passed out. And then while that happened, they separated, they kind of almost split her into two, where we get Bast, who's a mother aspect of her, and that's that mama lion protection energy. And then we have Sekhmet, who is still deeply protective, but has more brakes to pump now. So with her, we see she goes from this ferocious, fierce, violent strength to this new kind of strength, where now, she'll still fuck shit up, but now there's more restraint to be had, and she has a really, I love her the most for the strength card personally, because I think it really resembles what we're looking for here. Fun fact, her counterpart Bast, also on this card. We will also see it. Bast is the cat goddess. So the big cat statue you always see? That's Bast. So we also see Apollo, and we see Helios. Apollo is not the sun. He's just the god of the sun. He's the one who drives it around. Helios is the sun. He is the actual sun in the sky. Because he's a titan. He's really big.
Yeah.
And he knows I'm talking about him. Damn it. I got tingles. Ah. Also for the archangels, we see Archangel Ariel. Spelt like the Disney princess. Ariel. Their name means Lion of Heaven, so that's why they're associated with this. So for the symbolism, strength is number 8. in the deck. 8 is a number of power, strength, authority, self-confidence, inner strength, and wisdom. And on the original art of the card, we see a lion with its jaws open, like ready to like go at it. And we see this woman, and she's so calm and she's so gentle, and her face is very serene. And you can see she has one hand on the top of the lion's muzzle and one hand underneath it, and it looks like she's very slowly closing its mouth. And the whole point of this is she's taming a lion, but with gentle power. She's not forcing it. She's not like crocodile wrestling this thing, getting on top of it, binding it shut, tying its arms to the side. It's doing the like, okay, all right, okay, and like easing it down. Not to be that person, but it's the Marvel thing. It's the, hey, big guy, sun's getting real low. Like, it's that whole moment with like Nat and the Hulk. It's that's kind of what we see with this, you know, because right? He hulks out, everybody tries to beat him, it doesn't work. All it takes is a hot redhead being like, hey, Bruce, you want to go make out later? And wouldn't you know, he's fine. Like, I mean, same, Bruce, but like, be a little less obvious. I love Black Widow. The Black Widow movie, oh my gosh, so good. So, it shows how animal instinct and raw passion can exist in positive ways, man. God, this whole class is going to be me being mean to men. That's why I do the men next, because then I just do nothing but compliment them and talk about how great they are, with the exception of like 2 cards. But like it's just, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. It shows that when inner strength is applied, and when we have that like confidence, and again, we're not... The strength card, again, God, I'm going to make so many dork references, but who cares? The strength card also gives me Game of Thrones vibes of any man who needs to say, I am king is no king. If you need to scream that shit, not a good look. I've made the joke before, but it's really fun to watch a bunch of witches in the room, because you'll see real quick who actually knows what they're talking about. Yeah. And it's the ones who are like, I'm a level 9,000 witch. I have 8 million da-da-da-das, and I do... And then it's the ones who are like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I started fucking around with a new kind of divination. I don't know, we'll see where it goes. Like, that's probably the girl who knows what she's talking about. Yeah. Like, because again, you think they're compensating for something, Mr. Loud Motorcycle? Mm-hmm. You think the people who are like, I'm such a powerful witch, do you think they're compensating for something? Yes. Yeah. You know how many people I've seen, because I'm all over witch talk, you know how many people I've seen come on the scene, and I was always like, wow, they have such a dope aesthetic. Like, I didn't like think anything of it, but super like aesthetic. I was like, cool aesthetic. Yeah. And then they would keep going, and then the ego would get a little too big, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. And then it would come out that they've been a witch for like a year and a half. And that's it's like crazy. Yeah. Little baby witchling. Yeah. Like, and look, still have a dope aesthetic, have confidence, do like all the shit. But again, if you need to go, I am the most powerful witch. You're not. No. Yeah. Okay. Because unfortunately, a whole part of witchcraft is a shit ton of ego deaths. So, like, there's no way you get that far down the line and have any semblance of that ego. Like, I know I got an ego death coming, and I'm like, oh, here she comes. I don't want to do it, but, like...
Yeah, that's crazy that you sensed that for yourself, though.
I felt it. I knew. I knew. I got annoyed about something, and I was bitching about it, and something came out, and I went, whoa! That was icky. What the fuck? And then I had to like go think about it. Yeah. And then I sat there and I was like, oh, I meant that. I wasn't even mad. I like actually meant that. Ew. And then I pulled cards, and then I got, ego death is coming. And I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, I'm getting humbled. I was like, okay. Wow. Hey, I'll take it. Obviously, I have it coming. Yeah. Like, but damn it, I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to get humbled. Like, but I need it. Yeah. It was a little cocky what came out of my mouth. Like, and not the good cocky. It was a bear cocky. Mm-hmm. In my defense, I was really bad. Stupid ex-friend bullshit, you know? It brings out the ugly shit. It brings out the ugly shit. Oh, like, I've been so good with, like, no ugliness about that for, like, 5 years, and then it was like, hey, you're still mad about that. And I was like, oh, shit, I am still mad about that. Like,
I try to bite my tongue, but... I know, it's hard.
Hard to do. It's hard. But this is, it'll give you, again, if you're screaming loud, it's probably not a good sign. So usually with the strength card, it's going to tell you to, again, like, have confidence in it. And, like, you know, I can't tell you how many people will sit at my table and, are you any good? I should hope so. Yeah. Like, I'm not, hello. Like, I'm not gonna I don't feel the need to explain.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the reading, and it's either gonna click or it's not, and like whatever. Like it was so funny. I had this one, and like again, I'm very dry, so sometimes people think I'm being mean or they think I'm irritated when I'm not irritated. And we sat down and I was like, "What's your zodiac sign?" And she was like, "Guess." And I was like, "I don't do party tricks."
Yeah.
What's your zodiac sign? And she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No, I'm not mad."
Yeah.
But we're not playing that. Like, we're not playing that game.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to tell me anything, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
I have people who come in and they're like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and I'm just going to let you go.
Yeah.
Totally fair. But if it's the like, prove how good you are.
Yeah.
Guess. No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Why are you spending your
I don't need to do that shit.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't need to do that shit. I'm gonna talk. And look, if in 10 minutes nothing's clicking, look me in the face, say nothing's clicking, we'll walk you downstairs, we'll get you a refund. I'll say, my bad, we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll write it off as like, man, I'm off my game today. And like, it's fine. Most of my clients know by like the second or third visit, you can be like, that one didn't hit. And I'll be like, okay, let's see where I fucked up. Like, it's not, you don't need to prove yourself. Same thing. Don't let people make you think you need to. With the strength card, you need that kind of confidence right now in that moment if you're pulling this. She's also wearing all white. Purity, goodness. I'm going to say this every time white shows up in a card. It means the same damn thing every time. But she has a belt and a crown, and they're usually kind of flowery, and like that's her connection to nature. There's also an infinity symbol above her head. This is infinite wisdom, potential, and strength. So upright, strength, courage, influence, perseverance, and compassion. This is usually a time where, like, don't get me wrong, you probably need to bring the heat, but do it nicely. I like to call the strength card, it's a lot of, like, water sign boundaries. So, like, if I pull the strength card and I need to correct someone, instead of doing the, like, hey, put your words back in your mouth before your teeth follow them, yeah? That's not the right approach.
Yeah.
The right approach is like, hey, I get that you're stressed. I get that you're upset. I understand you're going through a lot, but I need you to stop talking to me that way because none of those things are on my plate and you need to stop putting them on my plate. That's the kind of strength we need. This is not a Tyra Banks, I was rooting for you, we were all rooting for you moment.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries firmly, strong, but you're not getting into a fight. We're not arguing. You're not even getting mad. Like, I think the best example of this, because I used it, because the card showed up in my life. Again, friend drama. Friend of 10 years. She was gonna be homeless. Let her. I'm gonna talk about her a lot because she works in so many situations.
Yeah.
She was gonna be homeless, and I was like, fuck that. I'm not gonna let my friend be homeless because it was either homeless or moving back in with her very abusive dad, and I was not going to allow that to happen. So I flew out to California, threw all her shit in a U-Haul, and we drove across country, and she moved in with me and my boyfriend and her cat. So, like, took care of all that. A year, not one job application sent out. No attempt of money, would give me grocery lists of what she wanted to eat. One time, I kid you not, I went to go on vacation, and she was like, hey, before you go, can you do all the dishes in the sink? That way, while you're gone, I'll monitor how many dishes I use, so I should know if I should start doing the dishes. Like, I could go on about it forever. Like, it's one of those things where you know when you're over something, but you can bring that petty right back up if you need it.
Yeah. Yes.
And like, it was one of those, like, I mothered her. I gave her everything. She was my closest friend, and I wanted nothing more. I was like, hey, you're going through a lot of hard shit, and I want to help you out, and I want to be a place where you can sit and recover. She moved in, and I was like, babe, you don't have to worry about applying, because she just got out of a breakup. I was like, you don't have to worry about applying. She moved in May. I told her don't even think about it until like August. I was like, just recover from your breakup. Be sad. You just moved across country where you don't know anybody. You need to adjust. Like, no problem. Mind you, we were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. She was sleeping on my pull-out couch in the living room. Like, it was, we were all so on top of each other. My strength moment. We finally hit a breaking point. I was like, you need more help than I can give. And coming as someone who is a very pro mental health advocate, I think you should maybe do an institutionalization. I think you should maybe go because you need more help than I can give, and you're very suicidal. Like, you need help. So she finally agreed, and I dropped her off, and I cried my eyes out because I was like, I could have done more, and like left. Called me while she was in there every day. I visited her every day, like every visiting hour I was there. I was her emergency contact. And then she got out, And when I tell you New York State was going to give her everything, like housing, food stamps, mental health care, everything.
Yeah.
She texted me, Sam, I got denied. I have nowhere to go. And I looked at my boyfriend and I said, make this go away, because I'm about to invite her back into our house because I still can't let her be on the fucking street.
Yeah.
And so he handled it. Her mom finally agreed to take her in. Where were you the first time?
Yeah,
but her mom finally agreed to take her in. And my boyfriend was gone for like 4 hours, came back. He was like, she's on the first plane to Tennessee in the morning. And I was just like, hey, like so emotional.
Wow.
I still think we can salvage this relationship. She goes to Tennessee. I still think we can work this out.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I get a call from her social worker. She's looking for her. And I was like, what do you mean? She's in Tennessee because you guys denied her.
Yeah.
And her social worker went, Sam, she was pre-approved for everything. All she had to do was come in and sign the paper. There was a cab waiting for her to take her to her new place. And I just went,
That's crazy.
oh, like something in me died.
Yeah,
And
no.
like, I just, crazy.
So much a betrayal.
Crazy. And then had a big falling out. We were a part of like a big guild. She pulled us onto a live call with the entire guild where we could talk about our personal issues. Outed all of this personal shit. I finally just left the call. I was like, I'm not being put in like public square.
Yeah.
She had spoken to everyone in the guild before we got on the call and had turned them all against me. So when we got on the call, they all thought I was a bully. So like they were all ready to
That's
defend her.
crazy.
She told all of them she was too afraid to speak to me in private and she needed them all there for support. And like crazy. So finally I was like, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Fully cut her off, sent a big letter. I was like, I'm not doing this. Blocked her on everything.
Yeah.
6 months go by. I checked the website where the guild had been on. It's dead. There's no activity. Nobody's doing anything. And I was like, wow, that's weird. Then I find she's not even a part of it anymore. She gave it off to somebody else. I get a email with a Google Doc because that's the only way she could reach out to me anymore because she had been blocked everywhere else. And I got a 3-page letter about how she was so horrible to me because she was secretly in love with me the whole time. And it was crazy. Whole thing.
That's another level.
I sat there and I literally went, I don't know what to do. And I pulled my cards.
Yeah.
One card came out, put it back in, shuffled it, came out 3 more times. I got strength. All 3 times.
Wow.
And because I wanted to send the most scathing thing I could. Because we'd been friends for 10 years. I knew everything that hurt her fucking feelings.
Yeah.
I wanted to send the most scathing thing in response. And then I got strength 3 times in a row. And you know what I sent her? I'm going to give her a fake name. We're not going to use her real name.
Yeah.
You know what I sent her? Diana, comma, no. And then I just sent it. And I was like, blocked.
Yeah.
Bye. And I ran.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what strength looks like. It's the thing of like, I'm not doing this with you because it's not worth my peace. Like,
Wow.
would it feel good? It would a little bit. But like, it's really not worth my peace here. Like, it took so much more strength to just go, girl, no. And then just send it. And I wanted so bad to clear up all the bullshit that she had sent and to like, but I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, because this isn't bullshit. This is willful misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It's not that like she doesn't understand. There is no magical way for me to word it and her to suddenly get it. She's choosing not to, and there's nothing I can say that's going to do that. And I have to pick my peace, even though I do not want to do that. The petty part of me wants to go full Sekhmet and rage out, and then the other part of me still wanted to try to make some type of understanding come across the board. Strength is the no, babe. No, like I'm leaving. I'm picking my peace, and you know what happened? My life got so much better. Like in the 4 years since I haven't talked to her, I wouldn't be here if she was still in my life. I wouldn't be working here. I would not be here. I can say that with my whole chest if she was still in my life. Wouldn't you know, she left my life, and I got a bout of pancreatitis. You know, the organ that filters toxins. Fucking freaked out like within 24 hours of her being out of my life. I was in the hospital. They had no idea how it happened. They were like, I don't know, were you stung by a fucking scorpion? I was like, no. They were like, then we don't know how this happened, bestie. Like, they had no idea. Strength is all about endurance and stamina. It's persistence, balanced with patience and calm. Act, don't react. Dear God, please do not react with this card. What you feel is never wrong, and strength is going to require facing it, not suppressing it. This card brings courage, perseverance, compassion, and determination. It is similar to the Chariot. You can endure, and it's going to remind that of you. You do not rule by trying to control others. any of those things. This is the card that tells you to like feel the fear and do it anyway and like keep pushing. Find the power within you to keep going and channel your reactions constructively. So obviously, when this card's in reverse, self-doubt, low energy, and raw emotion. Completely flipping out. If this card's in reverse, you really need to tune into your levels of inner strength, your confidence, and your belief. Are you feeling depleted? How can you balance that? How can you be restored? Also, I'm not gonna lie, you might have had something kick you in the ego. But the reminder is, and this isn't like good ego kicks, this is like you've been trying to make something work and it isn't working and you're starting to doubt yourself type of like ego kicks. If that's what's happening, you need to give yourself more credit. Your strength has never left you. You just forgot it was there. Do not beat yourself up. Check in with your energy levels. You might be feeling tapped out. Do the neurodivergent thing. How many spoons do you have?
1 minute.
If you're out of spoons, rest and withdraw. Me and my boyfriend all the time, we ask each other what our battery levels are at. All the time. It's like, what's your battery percentage at? I'm at 30. How about you? I'm at 70. Perfect. That means we can get it done.
Yes.
The important thing, let's say I'm at 30. Let's say he's at 30. That's 30% we're missing. If we together cannot get to 100, we need to sit and talk about it. Like I literally just saw a therapist talk about it the other day. It was so smart. She uses a similar system. And she was like, if me and my husband cannot collectively find 100, we need to sit down and talk to each other about how we're going to treat each other with a little extra kindness and a little extra patience. Because when neither of us can make it to 100, that's when we're bound to start blowing up at each other for dumb shit. So like we need to check in. Finally, you might be prone to explosive behavior or lashing out. You gotta channel and work through your feelings. Do something productive, go to a rage room. There's nothing wrong with explosive anger as long as it's in the right place and it's safe, right? Fucking get it, you're fine. You're fine. But that's gonna be it for today. And then we're gonna do the rest of the ladies next week, and I promise we'll get to the men where I won't be so goddamn mean. But we'll see. I don't know. It depends.
So much.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I'm gonna cancel out of this and I'm gonna post it.